Hi, this is Dr. Megan Cannon, and this is Mental Training Monday, and I am here with my friend and colleague, Dr. Julie Amato, who is also a sports psychologist here at Mind of the Athlete, and we are going to be answering some of the sports psychology questions that we got sent in since last week. The majority of questions actually wound up dealing with what exactly it is that we do as far as being sports psychologists and how we work with athletes, so I kind of figured we would just take the time to answer some of those questions today. So one of the main questions that we got was, what exactly is a sports psychologist? And I don't know about you, but every time I tell somebody what I do, they always say, oh, it sounds so cool, but like, what do you do? So, Dr. Julie, what is it do you think that we as sports psychologists do, and what are we?
Yeah, so this was a great question, and we do get this question quite a bit. So we're psychologists, clinical psychologists who have gone to school for a long time, studying how the mind works, studying about emotions and the human experience. And so we've got PhDs in clinical psychology, and we specialize in working with athletes. And we draw a lot of our experience and research really from performance psychology. So what we're trying to do with athletes is teach them how the mind works best, and how they can use that information to help them excel and perform to their potential, basically. And so, some of the other questions we got is like, what does that look like? And, we could both share some of our experience with that. Like, so you teach athletes about how the mind works and you want to help them perform to their full potential. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, that's, like Julie said, pretty much the second follow-up question that we get. And so a lot of the clients that we see here at Mind of the Athlete, and I'm sure other sports psychologists see across the country, is people that are really just looking to get an edge in their training. A lot of athletes physically, that's strength and conditioning component to practice and doing a lot of conditioning physically in that aspect. That's something that just always happens within the sports climate and atmosphere. And so what we do is we add a mental layer to the training. So a lot of the athletes we see in here are athletes that are maybe suffering with a little bit of performance anxiety, where they're really performing really well in practice, but then when it comes down to really big games or meets, they are not performing as well as they would like to. We sort of help them work towards reaching their goals in just a little bit of a quicker way. It's a way to kind of fast pass a lot of mental anguish and things that may be going on that's debilitating your performance, to kind of just streamline to how can we reach your goals really quickly. We see a lot of clients that are transitioning in and out of injuries. We see a lot of people that are maybe suffering with some performance anxiety and want to know how they can move forward in a more successful way with their training in that aspect as well. What else do you have to add to that?
Well, I think that our approach at Mind of the Athlete is really to be positive and proactive. And so my favorite way to work with clients, in addition to what Dr. Megan is talking about one-on-one in the office, dealing with specific mental barriers really to performance, my favorite thing to do really is to be a part of the larger picture. So to consult with a team throughout the course of their season, be there from the very beginning of the season and talk to them about, okay, what are some ways in which we can get a competitive advantage over our opponents simply by doing some of this off the field, off the court stuff, strategies that we know really work in order for us to reach our full potential. So we're talking about how to build team chemistry, how to develop a positive culture, helping coaches with that, teaching athletes about getting sleep and how that impacts performance, teaching athletes about how to manage pressure situations that arise when the games get bigger and the stages get bigger and the lights get brighter. And so equipping athletes before there are any issues with some of the skills they can use in order to get an edge over their competition and to perform their best. So that's kind of my favorite part of it.
Yeah. So basically, we are really flexible. We're really blessed in that we get to work with teams individually, or athletes individually, and then also with teams, with coaches, with entire athletic departments. So our day-to-day activities and what we do looks really different. And so that's something that for the two of us is really exciting about our job. So I hope that this answers a lot of your questions out there as far as what is it exactly that you guys do, and how are you able to really work with teams and athletes and be beneficial towards them. So thank you so much for tuning into Mental Training Mondays. Next week, just in time for, really this whole holiday season, I'm going to be talking a little bit about the attitude of gratitude and how you can utilize that to really enhance yourself as an athlete and as a performer. And so thank you so much, Dr. Julie. I'm sure we'll be seeing more of her in the future to help continue
Yeah.
answering some of your questions. And if you ever have any sports psych questions, please feel free to reach out and email me, Dr. Megan at mindoftheathlete.com, or through any form of social media, Twitter, Instagram, direct message me, Facebook. We're around. And check out our website at mindoftheathlete.com. And that's all. Thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, Dr. Megan.